カプコンドラゴンズドグマ2ディレクターのいつのひ
Hey, what's up, guys? I just watched this video. This is an interview with Hideaki Itsuno, the director behind Dragon's Dogma 2. And I wanted to share something with you guys, especially the people out there who are not necessarily interested in Dragon's Dogma 2. Basically, what struck me is the passion, the absolute passion behind this particular interview. I want you guys to listen to a few parts of what Itsuno had to say about Dragon's Dogma 2 that I found quite interesting.
であ
Let's hear
り
it.
オープンワールドでありで、カプコンだからというのもありますし、我々のそのデビルメイクライチーム中心で作られた、アクション部分というのもすごく力を入れて
So one thing of note that he mentions, it's the team that makes the Devil May Cry games, which are quite different from Dragon's Dogma, honestly. Like, these are heavy action focused games. And he also mentioned that they put a lot of effort into the action mechanic. So let's keep going.
で作っています。で何より特徴的なのは一人用のオンラインパーティーアクションゲームだというところでですね、一人でプレイするんだけども多人数でプレイしているような楽しさが味わえる。
Personally, I wasn't sold on this aspect of having pawns instead of real players. I'm a big sucker for co-op, but the way he describes his decision making behind making pawns instead of players is quite interesting, and I think it's definitely worth paying attention to.
自分の主人公のプレイヤーと、ポーンと言われる、従者、お供に来るような、キャラクターですね。これを、自分でクリエイトしまして、そのキャラクターとあとネットワーク上の、誰かが作ったそのポーンですね。そのポーンを2体借りてきて4人パーティーでですね、AI のポーン3人と自分で、パーティーする RPG になっています。もともとロールプレイングゲーム大好きです。大好きなんだけどコマンド式の戦闘がめんどくさいなとか経験値稼ぎがめんどくさいなとか、当時昔思ってですね、その時にストリートファイター2がめちゃくちゃブームでしてね、これアクション部分だけストリートファイター2ならへんかなって思ってたりとかで、そういう気持ちが学生時代にあって、自分でゲーム作っていいよっていうタイミングが来たので、その2つ実現したいなという。
This is what's crazy to me. He said he wanted to make those two desires come into reality. So he's basically saying that since he was a student, his dream game, what he always wanted to make, was action-oriented that was on the level or on par with the type of action combat that you had in fighting games, but that was also an RPG, and that didn't really exist at the time. And so what he's basically saying is there's a lot of passion that went into this, and this guy is basically making his own dream game, which I found to be quite amazing.
というのが一つと。で、このゲームを、考え始めた頃っていうのがちょっと2001年とか2年とかでして、オンラインの、ゲームが出始めた頃で、オンラインのゲームに対する憧れがめちゃくちゃあって、で自分を触れる機会があって、夢の世界やと思ってたんですけど、意外と面倒くせえなっていう時間も場所も選ばないはずなのに、結局友達同士で何時スタートって集まんなきゃダメだったりとか。
He was basically bothered by having the hassle of like setting up his entire party to be able to play, and he wanted to play more basically, but he needed to wait for his friends. So what he wanted to create was the same environment by being able to play by himself. Now, I don't share that thought, but I respect it. I respect that this is what the guy wanted, and he just made it possible by making it his own. He made it his own in his own game the way he wanted. And to me, that speaks volume of what it should be.
トイレ行くのもはばかられたりだとか、そういういろいろがあって、オンラインゲームで遊びたいんだけども、そういう面倒くさい思いとか気を使ったりとかしたくないな。 でそれをなんとかうまくする方ないかなっていうアイデアを出してる時期がありまして、その2つの、友達と遊んでるような気分で遊べるという仕組みと RPG のアクション部分がバリバリのアクションゲーム並みに面白い、この2つが誇りに思えるところです。もともとドラゴンズド1作る時からそうなんですけど、狭い範囲でもいいからちゃんと NPC を作り込みたいっていうのがありまして、今回とてつもない人数になってしまいましたけども、とにかくその世界でこのキャラクターがちゃんと目的を持って行動して、判断基準があって独自の判断をして、その結果、この NPC がやった行動に対してちゃんとリアクションがある世界にしようというシステム考えて作り込んでいってますね。前作ではプレイヤーと NPC の好感度だけだったんですけど、今回は NPC 同士の好感度であったり、NPC 同士の関係性であったりとか、例えばNPC がプレイヤーに対して好意がある、同じように好意がある NPC がいたら、この2人って同じ人に好意があるからって仲良くなる世界はあんまないじゃないですか。仲良くなって。
So he's basically explaining the concept of jealousy, but it's quite funny because it seems like I guess you could call it romance. The romance part might kind of be present from what he's saying, which I don't mind. I think it's a funny addition, but let's hear it. Let's hear more about it.
キャラクターはうちに遊びに来たりするんですけども、うちに来た時にそのキャラクター同士が鉢合わせしたりすると喧嘩になるかもしれませんね。
This is very anime.
で僕らとしてはやめて、僕のために喧嘩しないでって言いたいだけのために作ったシステムなんで、そんな風にならないように皆さん気をつけてプレイしていただき。
I love this. Just look at the passion. I mean, this is what you want, guys. This is exactly what you want. This is what you want a director to be for any game that you're playing. You want this sort of passion.
だければいいのかなと思っています。プレイヤーのね、やりたいこと、やったことに対してちゃんと納得のいくリアクションが来るような世界を頑張って作りましたので、この世界で本気でごっこ遊びをしたい人、ファンタジー世界異世界転生シミュレーターやりたい人、あと、当然アクションが得意な人苦手な人両方に生きる道があるような世界を作ったんですけど。
Here he says they made a world where you can survive whether or not you're good at action games. So basically like Elden Ring. Elden Ring did that by L2 spam and summoning. Here I believe he is referring to the fact that you're going to be able to summon pawns that are much higher level than what you're fighting. And I believe there's also difficulties, like you can play on easy or hard mode. So I believe this is what he's referring to, but there's a second part to that.
もちろんアクションゲームを求めてる人に対しては奥深い。
And this is the good part. There's also a deep action game awaiting those who are seeking one. Basically, the game has a lot of depth, but only if you're looking for it. So if you want to invest yourself in getting good at it, it's there for you. But if you want to overlook it and only play surface, you're going to be able to do that as well. I think that's actually pretty good. Personally, I'm obviously more leaning toward games that have depth, but I actually think Souls games, right, are also similar in that regard, because you can overlook a lot of the skills. For instance, in Elden Ring, you can pretty much play a mage and just go through the entire game without much effort, or you can learn the ins and outs, learn the bosses, learn how to roll properly, spacing, timing. There is deepness and there is shallowness, and they can both coexist at the same time.
深いアクションは用意していますので、俺は腕っぷしだけで勝負すんだぜっていう人ももちろんお待ちしております。で、あとよくわかんないけど面白そうって聞いたからやってみますっていう人。
Although I do wish in that regard that I would be able to play with someone else. That's for sure. I feel like a game like this, while it is not in his vision, I think a game like this is very well suited for co-op. But I do understand that It is not co-op because his vision was to be able to play in a sort of like a friend-like setting, but being able to do that by yourself. So that's what he attempted to realize, which I respect as well.
多分ですけど、僕今回ポーンめちゃくちゃ、チーム全員そこにお金時間かけて作ってるので、
But it's good that they're
横にい
putting a
る
lot of effort
友
to make
達
the
が
pawns
この
good
ゲー
at
ムやった
least.
ことある友達がいいアドバイスを
But I would argue that it will never really be like a real friend that plays with you. That I will definitely will stand on that point.
してくれるようにポーンを作っています。友達の作ったポーンがいろいろ教えてくれると思うんですよ。そいつが先に攻略してる知識はポーンがちゃんと教えてくれるので、ポーンをちゃんと当てにしてもらえれば、実はそんなに覚悟なくても遊べるかもと思っています。よろしくお願いします。
Well, that's about it, guys. Really good stuff. I think the takeaway from this is that you have a creator here who is extremely passionate about what he's making, and he is making a game with mechanics that he envisioned like 20 years or so ago, which is commendable, and that alone should give a lot of hope and a vote of confidence for those who are unsure about playing this game. I think this should make you want to give it a try. I think that's my takeaway from this, and I was excited for Dragon's Dogma 2, but after hearing this, I just cannot wait until I get my hands on it and try it for myself. That's it for today. I hope you enjoy, guys. Have a good one.